my crafty friends, welcome back, or welcome if you're new to my channel. It's Terry here from Veegstez Creates, and today I'm going to be creating a project for iCrafter. So I'm using one of their brand new releases for January 2022, and this is the Box Pops Scooter Love add-on. So if you wanted to create this type of card, you would need the Box Pops oval base die. So this is sold separately. This set is just the add-on, so you get all of the pieces to make this gorgeous scooter with little flowers in the front and the heart balloons, and you get this Be Mine sentiment. So I'm sure some of my fellow teammates will be creating a box pop version of this. So I thought that I would create just a regular card from it. This also, I think, shows you the versatility of dies, and I think it's useful as crafters to sort of see the versatility in our dies, and that we can use them in other ways than they were initially intended. So that's why I'm going to create for this a card just using this adorable little electric scooter. It is so super cute, and I'm going to use the Be Mine sentiment, so it's going to be a lovely Valentine's card. I'm going to use some similar colours. I'm going to be using some teals and pinks and red, also some navy blue. So what I've pulled out here, so this is an A6 card blank, American size A6, which is 4.5 by 6.25. I then cut down a panel of 300 GSM card of the same colour to leave a nice border, and then I cut down a piece of navy blue textured cardstock so that it was sort of in between these two sizes, which just gives a nice little border there. And then this is the die that creates the scooter, and you can see it's got the bottom bit which you would actually slot between. So you make the, in case you haven't used this before, you make it in two halves and then stick them together. So this bit would be stuck in the middle, but obviously I don't need that bit, so I'm going to cut it out and then just cut round this and make them into circles. But my project from the 1st of January, our release day, if you haven't seen that, I'll link that video up here for you and in the description box below. Here are my leftovers. So I had lots of little hearts left over, and I also had these two panels left over because I wanted some hearts of different coloured pinks. So what I decided that I wanted to do with this card is to add some texture and dimension by using some embellishment mousse. So this one happens to be by Nuvo, so Tonic Studios, but obviously lots of different brands and companies make texture pastes. You can even, if you've just got a bog standard white one, you can add different coloured inks to it to give it colour. You can get them in glittery formations, in really shiny ones, but this one is aquamarine, which I think will very much fit with my theme of sort of teals and aquas and pinks and reds. So this is what it looks like, and I have used it before, but basically the first bit of this whole process is going to be creating some little hearts using this essentially as a stencil. So I'm going to grab myself a baby wipe because this is going to be messy. So I'm going to use a very small spatula. It's not an expensive one, it's just a cheap, inexpensive one that came in a pack of ones with different sizes. I'm going to tape it to my work surface using a bit of washi. And I'm just going to do some here and here. So I'm going to take, it's quite chilly today, even though I do have the heating on, so the paste's a bit stiffer than it usually is. So I'm just going to work it a little bit with my little flexible palette knife, and then just pick some up and work it through our handmade stencil. So in case you've never thought of doing this kind of thing, like making your own stencil, I do it quite often actually, because say we end up with these little offcuts, and I tend to keep things because they can be used in so many different ways that we might not think of at the time. So if you ever think, that might be useful for something, just keep it. And you know, if you haven't used it in like a couple of months, then get rid of it. But you know, it's things like this are really quite handy. Obviously it can only be a single use stencil because we're not able to clean it off like a mylar, if that's the way you pronounce it, the mylar stencils, because it's cardstock, but it should be good enough for our purposes. So I'm trying to get an even coverage. And the reason I'm obviously doing this first is because we've got to wait for this to dry before we can complete the rest of the card. So, the moment of truth. Ah, that looks cute, doesn't it? Excellent. So that's worked really well. I'm going to chuck that bit away now. So I'd love to know in the comments, do you do things like this? Do you have you sort of made homemade stencils? Or do you do things like this, or is this like a brand new tip for you? Because I do like to give people tips and tricks and techniques, and likewise if you've got any tips and tricks and techniques, let me know anything similar, because you know, sharing is caring, and it's always good to learn from each other. You just need to try and be careful not to go outside of the lines and not to push too hard, because you don't want to push any of the paste underneath the our stencil. And also this embellishment mousse does tend to retain its height as well. So there we go, so that's another one. So I think that's worked really well. So mission accomplished. All the supplies used, so both the iCrafter set and any other products that I've used will be listed in the description box below. But as you can see, that's given us a nice dimensional little heart formation there. And that should look lovely when over with the completed thing over the top of it. So there we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to off screen die cut all of these little component parts. So I'm going to raid I've actually picked out the colours that I want to use, and then I'm going to raid my little scraps box to see if I've got any bits of like mirror card and stuff like that, which I'm sure I have. So I will be back in a moment once I've done all the die cutting, and then we can assemble this together. So see you in a mo. Okay, my friends, so I have cut out all of the little add-on dies. As you can see, there are quite a few. So the main balloon die cuts out like this. So I've cut it out of 2 different colours, and then I've also cut out some extra, you get individual hearts as well. So I thought I could add some of these on. So those are all the balloons. I cut the main body of the scooter out of this lovely ocean teal colour. And then we've got the little bits that add on. Little indentations here where you're meant to attach the pieces, so you can see very clearly like that goes in there. And you'll also notice, because I haven't lined it up perfectly, I will trim that off, that I've actually stuck 2 of these together, and that's because this is card that I would typically use for die cutting elements. So it's just 216 GSM. It's Tonic Craft Perfect, in case anyone's interested. I'll link it below. I really like it because it comes in such a variety of colours, and one side is textured and the other side is smooth. but obviously it's not construction weight, and because I've added the texture paste and then I want to raise this up, I want it to be a bit more sturdy, so I just cut 2 of them out and stuck them together. So when doing something like this, if you're not used to putting together very intricate things, I would advise you to get some of these self-gripping tweezers. So iCrafter do some. I don't have them. This is a different brand, but basically with the self-gripping ones, they work the opposite way to regular tweezers. So with regular tweezers, you have to apply pressure in order to keep it closed, but with the reverse tweezers, you apply pressure to open it and then you just hold it, and it's so much easier. It really, really is. So if you haven't got any self-gripping tweezers, I would really recommend getting some. So say I'll link to some in the description box below, to the iCrafter ones. But they are far and away like the best for die cutting, because otherwise it just places a lot of strain on your fingers to be constantly like holding. It's like I noticed that I sometimes get pain or discomfort in this finger joint here if I've been crafting lots. So you know, it's just about looking after ourselves, because God forbid, you know, anything happens and we can't craft. I mean, gosh, I don't know what I'd do. It's my therapy. But yeah, so I'm using some Cosmic Shimmer glue. I've got loads of different types of glue, and likely you probably will have too, or you'll have like some that are your favourites maybe. I tend to have a few different favourites that I like for different things. Oh, I've just realised I shouldn't have put that on just yet, because I need to attach that bottom. Okay, so that's why we need to pay attention. So don't do what I've just done and attach that and that first, because you need to attach the wheel. But because this is so quick grabbing, I'm going to ruin that if I try and change it now. So what I will do is I will trim them down. And in fact, this is probably better in a way, because this bit would be raised up otherwise. So I'm just going to put a pencil line here and here. So this is for the black rims of our tyres. See, even professional crafters make mistakes. But I just think it's part of the process, really. You know, it's just like working out how to fix things. It's part of the creative process, and just giving yourself that freedom that it's okay to mess up occasionally, you know, or to make a little mistake, because it's card at the end of the day. It's just pieces of card. So because I've used mirror card for this, if you use tweezers with mirror card, what tends to happen is that they do mark it. So I try as much as possible, if I'm going to be using mirror card, to not use tweezers and to use something like a pickup tool to position it in the correct place, or just my fingers if possible. Depends how tiny it is. There we go, and then I can see there's just a little bit of glue around the edge there, which I'll just remove. There we go, and you can see that's pretty perfect. So for the next one, I'll do the same. Doesn't go all the way. Okay, so you can actually feel the edge, which is quite nice, the edge of that, which makes it easier to cut. So if you do either accidentally do what I did, or if you deliberately choose to do it the way I'm doing it, it's not too fiddly actually. You can figure out exactly where things are meant to be. There we go, and then we can use the whole of the hubcap, the silver hubcap in this one. Perfect. So then we have, this is the seat, which I've done in like a lighter blue. This looks so cute. I'm so pleased with this. I think it's going to look really good when the card comes together. If you do want to see a video of what the box pop card itself looks like, then I'll put a link in the description box below to the one that I've made. It's not obviously got the scooter on it, but just to get the idea of what it looks like and how it works, how it stands up, because it does stand up like that, and then you press it down and then it fits inside an envelope. It's ingenious, really. Yep. So that's the little exhaust pipe. So say it might seem a little bit fiddly, but once it all comes together, it's going to look so good. And if you like things like this, you're going to be like, ah, this is awesome. Okay, so this is the basket. So, I mean, I could have done it in a different colour to chrome, but oh well. You don't really see it anyway, because that's where the flowers will be. For some reason I thought it was that bit, but I mean obviously you could do that in a different colour to make it like look like a wicker type basket maybe, or a white basket, depending on what kind of scooter you're making. So now we want, this is our little light on the front there. So cute. And then here we've got our little bell, and then that's black. These two dies come together, so I cut them both out of silver. So I'm going to need to, I don't think I'll be able to colour over the chrome. But yeah, that's like the handlebar. So we don't want that as chrome, we want that as a different colour. So that I'll have to go and do later, but we can add on the florals. So there's two of these dies, so I'm going to put glue on one of them and glue that in place, and then have for some foliage, and then glue the other one on top with the pink flowers. And then I'm going to have to wait until the card, the embellishment mousse on the card has dried before we add the balloons, because that's going to be glued directly onto the card. Right. So this will be the last bit, and then after I've done this, I will turn the camera off, and then once the embellishment mousse has dried on that panel, I shall glue that onto the navy panel, and then the navy panel onto the card, and then I'll glue this onto the front panel, the top panel, with the embellishment mousse, but I'll put some foam pads behind it. And then I'll attach the balloons behind. So, oh yeah, so there's also the Be Mine. So I've cut them both out twice, and then just because I like my cards to be quite dimensional, so I've cut that out twice, and I'm going to stick those one on top of the other. But you don't need to see that. I just wanted to show you how to actually put together all the components of the little scooter. So I shall see you in a moment with the completed card. And here we go, my crafty friends, the completed card. So as you can see, we've got a lot of sparkle on the balloons. So I went ahead and added some Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen in the glitter gloss, which I think is a really nice touch. We've got some lovely dimension here by using foam pads. I also put some sparkle on the Be Mine as well at the bottom. And I just think this little scattering of hearts made from the embellishment mousse just adds a lovely bit of added extra and some nice texture. So and I still think it's quite a clean and simple card, to be honest, because there is still quite a bit of white space. So I'm really pleased with that, and I hope I've just sort of given you some insight into how, even though the die set might have been designed with a specific purpose in mind, with a bit of creative thinking, we can really stretch our supplies and you know, get more bang for our buck, as it were. So I think this card is absolutely adorable, and you could easily make that for anybody just by changing the colours. You know, if you know the recipient's sort of chosen colours, maybe you even know someone, your love, the person you've got your eye on, they might have their own scooter, so you could personalise it and make it just like theirs. So yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed that, and if you've picked up some tips and if you found some value in this video, it'd be great if you could use your thumb to let YouTube and me know that people are enjoying my videos. That really helps. And please check out the description box, because you'll find, say, all the supplies used listed below. So that's all from me today, and I'll see and speak to you soon with some more crafty goodness. Bye for now.